Alright, what's up? It's Damien, and in this video, what I want to talk about is just us as parents. We have to start allowing our kids to be themselves, and so uh, with this, like our kids may be, just a lot like us for real, and so I guess people who know me and know my son Adrian, I call him Jude. Um, like me and him are a lot alike in a lot of ways. So when people see us and see how goofy I am sometimes and how goofy he is sometimes, like, you know, like we have a lot of similarities, but in a lot of ways we are totally different. And just something that hit me is just thinking how different we are. So I remember just a quick story to kind of tell you, uh, I guess, a little bit of the situation that I want to talk about. But I remember, like coming home one day and Juke, he was in the living room and he's listening to his headphones. He's watching, I think it was like the Cosby Show or something on TV, and then he had a video playing on his iPad, and he was also doing his homework. And so, you know, I came in the house and I'm like, "Hey man, are you done with your homework? You still doing your homework?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing my homework." And I'm like, "All right." So I grabbed the remote, I turned the TV off. I tell him to turn the other stuff off or whatnot. And I turned it off, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, like turn this stuff off. You ain't done with your homework." And so I walked in the other room, and immediately when I walked in the other room, I thought to myself, I said, "Man, this boy is making straight A's in school." And, I'm trying to tell him to finish his homework. I'm the one who didn't do the best job in school, not because, I wasn't a good student. I did my work, I did all of this stuff, but I was distracted easily, right? And so one of the things that, I kind of put on my son was that, hey, man, you letting this stuff distract you, stick to your work. And the thing that really rung out to me is that he said, "Man, Daddy, like, this is how I do it. Like, I'm like, this is how I concentrate." And I'm just like, you know what? Like, when it hit me, I'm like, you know what, man, this dude's making straight A's. And like, he wasn't making straight A's, but A's and B's and stuff or whatever. Sometimes he was making straight A's. But I'm thinking, man, he's a hell of a student, and I'm trying to conform him to my way of doing things, the thing that's comfortable for me. I really couldn't concentrate with a lot of distractions, so I tried to make him not concentrate with a lot of distractions. And so for the way his mind's wired, he's just a distracted person, but he flourishes in the midst of a bunch of chaos. Like, I'm the type of person, if I'm about to read a book, if somebody just talks or the wind blows the wrong way, I'm distracted and my mind somewhere else. So I put that burden on him. And so with this lesson, I'm just telling you, like, don't put the same burden or think that your kids are going to do or operate in the same way that you operate. Give your kids freedom to be themselves. And so, even as Jude is older, we can talk and he's listening to me, but his mind is also going somewhere else as well at the same time. And so he, in some ways, can multitask a little bit better than I can. And so I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you or anybody is struggling with some of those types of, situations in raising your kids, but we do have to give our kids grace to be like, his personality is a lot like mine, but the way that he processes stuff is totally different, so don't put your I guess burdens and stuff and the things that you struggle with, don't necessarily just throw that on your kids and think just because these are my kids, I know better, I know how they are. In some cases, we can look and see track records and, help try to correct some things that they are doing wrong. But in the same sense, the things that plague you are probably not the same things that will plague your kids and stuff. So give your kids the space to be able to grow in the way that they grow. And, as much as they are similar to you, they probably different in ways too. So give them that grace. You know, you may have stumbled in one area, but it don't mean your kids are gonna struggle in that same area. Or the vice versa could be true. You may have flourished in an area, but that don't mean that your kids will flourish in that same area. So, you know, just think about that as you go on. And yeah, so anyway, I'm Damien. Until the next video, I'm out. Peace.